So a little bit about me. My name is Tawana Houston. I've been a professional skip tracer for over 20 years. Over the past 10 years, I've been helping people locate their loved ones for absolutely free. It's a true passion of mine. I sleep good at night knowing that I can help people find their loved ones. Last year, one of my clients actually asked me, why don't I do this as a business? And honestly, I never thought about doing it as a business, but I made it a business last year. It's been amazing. And so what I want to do now is bring awareness to it. A lot of my clients waited until many years down the road to try to get their questions answered. And many of them do that because they state that they don't want to open up Pandora's box. So what I want to do is make you guys feel comfortable today. I want to help you do it yourself. A lot of people don't even know where to start. Many people use Ancestry or 23andMe or things of that nature to try to find their loved ones, but they don't actually know how to read the reports. So if you're looking for a friend, if you're looking for a family member, or if you may be just not sure if you're really related to a certain person and you just want more information, then just get your questions answered in this platform. Again, we are live on Facebook as well as Zoom, and we are on Clubhouse. So we're gonna be looking like a chicken with our head cut off, trying to keep up with all of this, but just bear with us. And we are going to make sure that we get you guys' questions answered. So I'm not sure who's all on. Okay, I see you guys on Clubhouse. All righty. So Michelle, if you can monitor Facebook, that'll help me there. Okay, so there are 5 questions that we put together. Typically in my business, there are 5 different categories that a person will fall in. And before we go over those, I want to introduce you guys to our moderators. We have Michelle Adams, who actually runs this company with me. And we also have Jackie Pippins, who is one of my clients, who will be sharing her story. She's also my mentor in another business opportunity that I have, but I ended up helping her locate some family members. So she's going to share her story today. All righty. So first, Michelle, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys hear me loud and clear?
Yes, you sound good. You're perfect.
Okay, because I have I have my Mac on mute and Zoom, so I'm going only through Clubhouse. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michelle Adams, and the beautiful Tawana Houston. I know you can't see her beautiful face today, but she is my first cousin and has introduced me to this platform, and I have just fallen in love with the stories and helping her and connecting different families. She has gone through our family tree, and we have learned so much, and she has drew me into this amazing thing, and I just love it. So I'm just glad to be a part and helping her build out her dream in this amazing platform.
All righty. Well, thank you so much. Miss Jackie.
Hello, hello. How are you guys? I hope you all have an amazing day. I am Jackie Pippin. Absolutely love this platform. Miss Tawana Houston there. She is amazing. Let me tell you guys, if you need to find Jesus, she can find Jesus for you. That's how amazing she is. I am so happy. I'm so proud of what she's doing, and I am definitely here to help and serve.
I said, fine, Jesus. All righty. Thank you so much, Miss Jackie. Okay, so let's go through these questions. As you guys hear what we're covering, if you want to raise your hand, share a story, or maybe share the story of someone else without actually saying their names, that's absolutely fine. But we want you guys to understand the importance of knowing where you came from, not just for family reasons, but for health reasons as well. So the first question that we want to cover is, did you grow up in a single parent household? If so, did you have a relationship with the missing parent? I know that's a lot. I did a poll on that a couple months ago, and surprisingly, over 70% of the individuals that responded actually grew up in single parent households. About half of them actually had a connection with that missing parent, but many of them had no idea who the missing parent was or they had a lot of, how can I put it, resentment because the person wasn't there and really didn't care about finding them. So that's the first question I want to pose to you guys. If you can check out Facebook for me, Michelle, and see if anybody's responding. But yeah, so this is really important. So if I want to know from the audience, I know it's a little difficult on Clubhouse because you can't just raise your hand. Well, you can raise your hand, but you can't just text or anything like that. But if any of you guys grew up in a single parent household, I'm curious to know if you had a relationship with that missing parent. And if you didn't, are you open to finding that missing parent? Because what we're going to do today, for those of you that are open with sharing, I'm going to give you tips on how to find them. Right now, I do this as a business, but I want to give you tips on how to find those individuals on your own. So if there's anybody on Facebook, let me know. Okay, so the next one, you guys, is, have you ever wondered if you had siblings that you know nothing about? Okay, have you ever wondered? I have several clients that will come to me and say, hey, I heard rumors as I was growing up that I had a sister or I had a brother. I don't know if it's true, but people continuously told me I look like this person. Have you ever been someone that has been curious to know whether or not you had a sibling out there? Now, see, we have Brian that just joined us. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you much. Good to be here, especially when I heard the statement about you finding Jesus. So I'm in the right place.
That is too funny. Okay, so talk to us. Would you like to share your story, or what question do you have?
Well, I think you and I had kind of tagged up once before. Which is why I started following you. My story was the fact that I didn't grow up as in a single parent home. I actually had two adoptive parents. Oh, wow. I grew up an only child, but ended up finding five other siblings, all half brothers and sisters.
Now that is amazing. Now, can you share with everyone how you found them?
Well, I did a lot of, my first part was I found my birth mom quite a few years ago, and the assistance was somebody who was a volunteer, and she went through court records and stuff, and there's a longer story behind it, but she did a really good job trying to find my adoptive mother's son, who she had adopted out at the age of 19. And once she found him, she turned around and actually found my mom, my birth mom. So I didn't do a whole lot of that. I did a little bit of research with what I already knew. Where I came into play is it took me about 10 years to get enough information from my birth mom to find my birth dad, because they were never married or anything like that. And then I dug through and actually found my dad on Classmates.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So tell me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was going to ask you, what has it been like? Are you still in touch with your siblings?
Oh, I am completely in touch with my siblings. In fact, I live in Colorado. I've come up to northern Indiana to take care of my adoptive mother. Well, on the trip up, I actually stopped in for a layover in Dallas, met up with my half sister, had a few beers, got back on the airplane, flew back up here, spent a few minutes with my mom at the hospital, and on the way to the house, met up with my other sister. So, wow. Yeah, my connections are great. My connections are, everybody loves everybody, and I've got a really good experience across the board.
That is cool. So when you first started your search, what did it feel like? Were you wondering whether they would accept you or not? What thoughts were going through your mind when you first started your search?
Well, a lot of those thoughts that you're thinking of, yeah, what are they going to be like? Where are they from? Are they going to accept me? Those were all good questions that I, of course, had in my back of my head. They didn't really deter me because I had grown up knowing I was adopted. So it wasn't that major of a deal, but it was more of a venture for me. to try and find them. And in fact, I always tell the story too that, we all look for medical reasons, which was a big reason to really find my birth dad. But we usually look for those medical reasons, and I looked to see if I still had hair. Another comment was too that we're in such a small area here in northern Indiana. I always wondered if I dated my sister.
Oh, wow. That is, that's a big one. That's really a big one.
Yeah, so, I had a good experience. I was lucky enough. Now, I can also say that this half-sister I'm speaking of down in Dallas, she was actually adopted in. So by blood, she's not even a half-sister. She's got the experience that she doesn't want to even look for her parents because she's heard a lot of negative things and then had friends growing up in high school that made things really negative for her too. So she has no desire to find her birth folks. Wow.
I actually have a scenario like that now with one of my clients. And what I'm trying to tell her is, I understand you don't want to connect with your birth parents, but other children may have come out of that. So you may have siblings out there that you can connect with outside of your parents. But yeah.
Exactly. The oldest one of the bunch, the one I said that was adopted out by my adoptive mother, they found him. Well, he didn't know until probably about 5 years ago that he actually had a half sister also.
Wow. That's deep.
And he's older than I am, so he's like 61, I think.
Okay. Wow. Well, hey, a lot of these secrets. Yeah. They say a lot of secrets go to the grave. Well, I appreciate.
There's always secrets, and especially with, I think a lot of it has to do with my age and the era that I came from. Because when I do the stories and I ask for the stories and stuff, it seems to be pretty common across my age group.
May I ask your age?
I'm 53.
Oh, yeah. You're right about that.
So, go ahead.
I said, you're absolutely right. I said, normally between the ages of 50 and 60 is where most of the stories come out. Most of the secrets are between that age range there.
Right. Well, I think that was because of the times, those births that happened in the 60s and stuff. It was an era of free love, if you will. But also it was a big era around that neighborhood.
Gotcha. Well, you have to come back, Brian. Hang in here. Don't leave us. But we would love to.
I'm not trying to.
I would love to have you on the next one. Okay, so any questions you have for me before we move on to the next person?
No, I'm just kind of here, and if there's anything that I can help you with, and because I've got other knowledge too. That was just kind of an overview, so I'm more than willing to help out a little bit here and there, and we'll see where it goes. But I do have to say, I'm sorry, I have to jump off because I'm almost to the hospital to see my mom.
Okay, absolutely. Well, prayers to you and your family.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, next up, let's just recap really quick. For those of you that are just tuning in on Facebook, as well as on Clubhouse, what we're talking about today is tips on how to locate your loved ones. We already have the questions on the post on Facebook, so just kind of review through those questions. If you have any questions, Miss Michelle here is going to let me know so that I can go ahead and address them. But for those of you that are in the audience, if you want to share your stories, if you've been looking for a loved one to no avail, if you just want to share maybe a successful story of you locating your loved ones just to bless someone else that may be listening now, please jump on and do so. So the next person I want to bring up really quick is Miss Jackie Pippins, because I want her to go ahead and kind of share her experience with working with me and whatever she would like to bless you guys with today.
Hello again. I knew it was me coming up. I knew it.
You know it.
Okay, guys. Oh, this is amazing. This is a a kind of strange story, but true story. And I can't even make this one up. So here's my story with Miss Tawana Houston. So my sister decided to take this DNA test. It was called 23andMe. Her daughter ended up buying it for her for Christmas. And so my sister told me about it. I was like, oh my God, this is so neat. So this means I can find out who my relatives are that I don't know. So my story is my dad raised me, and my mom did not raise me. She left probably when I was about the age of 7. So I didn't know any of her relatives or any of that. So she even had sisters and brothers I didn't even know. So I wanted to know those. So I decided to order the test and take the test myself. And so the strangest thing, when the test came back, it showed that my sister and I, we were sisters, but we were half sisters. And I'm like, half sisters? This thing can't be right, right? So I researched and I looked in there and I just saw some names I had no idea about. And of course, if I didn't know my mom's relative, there was a lot of names I wouldn't know. Well, since I had my sister in there, and I knew that now I knew we either had different moms or different dads, and figured out it was different dads. So
can you hear good on Facebook?
When I saw relatives we didn't have in common, I was like, I realized I had a first cousin in there that I never know. I said, wait a minute, if this person is my first cousin, then that means that person's mom or dad is my auntie or uncle. And I said, I should know them. And they're on my dad's side. I should know them because it was my dad that raised me. And I knew all his sisters, all his brothers, all the cousins. I knew everybody on his side. So I called Tawana because I knew Tawana, this is what she did. I said, Tawana, you need to take a look at this. And I gave her my username and my password. And she looked and she looked and she looked. And she called me. She said, I got some news for you. You sitting down for this one. And I said, what is going on? And she said to me, your daddy is not your daddy. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean, Jackie? There's no way. There is no way. And so she showed me what she was finding out. And come to find out, what she was saying was true. And I just was like, darn, I'm like, I'm in my 50s and I'm thinking all of this time whom I thought was my dad was not my dad. And he was deceased and my mom was deceased at the time. So I could not ask any questions. Everything I had to find out was there. And so Tawana did all her magic. She was pulling up birth certificates. She ended up telling me who my grandparents were, my great-grandparents. And she even narrowed it down who my dad was. And so we researched all that, come to find out my dad was dead. He had deceased, the one dad, my biological dad now. He was deceased, but we found out that he has siblings that's still living. He has about 14 siblings. So now, at this point, I have sisters and brothers that I never knew I had. And they were all living. I was like, oh my God. So my life has totally turned around. First of all, I'm in disbelief and shocked and all of that at the same time. What is a person to do now? You got all of this information, you got all of this knowledge. The good thing that my dad who raised me wasn't living, because if he was living, I would have never shared this information. Because he was very good to me. He never treated me any different. I don't even know if he knew. I have no idea, but he was the best dad ever. But so Tawana and I got on the phone. We were able to contact the folks that were supposed to be my dad. We contacted those people and we shared them the information that we had. And they started researching, they was looking at my pictures on Facebook. They was like, oh my God, she looked just like us. I mean, they was like, they couldn't believe it. I mean, they was like blown away. This is her. This is definitely our dad's child. And So it went from there. So now I have a new set of family, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, got some uncles, got some aunts that I've never known about. And so I've been friends. I've been talking to my sister, which is Felicia. Me and her just automatically got a bond together. And then she ended up having a birthday party in October in Vegas. And so I flew up and I had a chance to meet her. And there was my brother and another sister there as well. So I met 3 siblings. It was amazing. It was just strange, but it was a great feeling. Now I have, I just have an extended family, I guess you would say. I'm blown away, and I'm happy at the same time because I realized it is what it is. There's nothing I can do. I had nothing to do with it. All my sisters and brothers that's living, they had nothing to do with it. The parents are all deceased, so we can't chat with them or talk to them about it. So we have to accept life as what it is. I just have a new family now, more sisters and more brothers, more people to love on. So I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of them. Maybe when this pandemic is over, when it slows down, I plan to go visit some of my siblings, my uncles, my aunties. They're older, and I do need to see them before it gets too late. So it was something, but Tawana found them all, and thank you for her, because I would have never known all of this, never known I was who I wasn't, but it's all a good thing. But I'm happy. I'm still happy. I am who I am. I shared it with my husband and my children. They were all shocked, and my son, he'll say something like, have you talked to them people? I'm like, them people, them are your aunts and uncles. It's hard for us to, realize exactly who they are. And sometimes I have to catch myself. My sister say, no, that's your sister, or that's your brother. I say, oh yeah, right. And then I say, well, your dad. She say, it was your dad too. So I have to catch myself sometimes. It's different, but I'm learning to adjust of what has happened. So Miss Tawana, back to you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Listen, if you could share one tip to help people cope with the truth after they find it out, what would you share?
Well, you do have to sit down and take some time and think about it, because it's a shocker. It's you got to deal with it within yourself. Just sit down and deal with it, and then realize. I always realize the serenity prayer helped me deal with the things that I cannot change. We cannot change what has happened, and when you take the DNA test, it tells you be prepared to accept some things you may not have known, but they want you to be prepared. They give you that warning before you even take the test. And so you just have to give yourself some time, sit down with your family members and your family members that you know of, your spouses or your children. Let them know about what you discovered. And you guys sit down and talk about it and discuss it, and then just trying to move on with it the best way you can, because this is out of my control. It's just not in my control. And so I have to deal with what I have found out, and I'm able to deal with it. I have to accept it. And now that's the best way to deal with it, is to go on and accept it and move on. You can have a relationship. You can choose not to have a relationship if you want. It's up to you, but you know the truth. And I'm glad that I know the truth, because let me tell you guys something. It was 15 of them, I believe, and they got cousins. I got cousins. I could have easily married my brother or my cousin. Easily. I didn't even know. But thank God I didn't. But I easily could have done it. My children could have married one of their relatives. So I'm glad that I know now, And to me, it's better that you know than you don't know.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miss Jackie. And thank you for allowing me to help you. You have a great story. I know it's going to help so many people, make the decision whether or not they want to pursue it. Because like I was sharing with you guys earlier, a lot of people reach out to me because they want the help. But at the same time, they're like, I don't want to open up Pandora's box because they don't want to hurt their mother's feelings, or they don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings. At the end of the day, we all deserve the truth. You deserve to know where you come from, and you can't worry about, let me reword that. You want to consider the feelings of other people, obviously, but at the end of the day, you can't keep hurting because you're wondering whether or not it's going to affect someone else. So it's important to know the truth. Just take baby steps, do a little bit at a time. You don't have to divulge the information up front, but you deserve to know the truth and where you come from. So Jackie, you've been handling like a champ. You keep in contact with your new siblings now, and that's amazing. So, things happen for a reason. You look just like your sisters. And so, so I know you guys bond are going to get stronger over time. So let's reset for a moment, you guys. Just want to let you know, I'm not able to add anyone to the group that I had invited earlier because I have a club attached to it. So I keep getting the message that if they're not a member of the club, they can't get in. So
unlock the club if you want.
How do I do that?
You just take it off. You want me to take it off for you? I can do
Please, thank you so much.
So then regular, anyone else who's not in the club will be able to come in, that's okay?
Yes, that's absolutely fine. I want to leave it open. Thank you so much. Like I told you guys, we are new at this. This is our first time setting up this club. Okay, I can see the people starting to come in now. Okay, so for those of you that are in here, ping, ping, ping. We just opened the group up public. This room is all about finding your lost loved ones, tips on how to find them. If you're someone that have been on a hunt, looking for a loved one to no avail, what I want you to do is share what resources you've used so far and what led you to a dead end. Are you open to finding that loved one? Who is that loved one? And so on. So far, 2 people have shared their stories. So we're going to keep on going. For those of you that are watching on Facebook, go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and Miss Michelle Adams is going to let me know. But we are on Facebook, we are on Zoom, and we are on Clubhouse. So the next question that I have here, first let me recap. I'm sorry.
Second. Before we go too far, we do have one question on Facebook.
Okay.
And that one is from Miss Vivian Head. She says, how much information do you need in order to find a person?
That's a great question. Well, for starters, you guys, I'm really good at what I do. So if you are able to give me a name and maybe a birth year, then I can pretty much narrow it down. Now, as I go through my search, there are certain things that I will be looking for. So I may reach out to you and ask you more information, because a lot of people think they don't know a lot. It's when someone asks you certain questions, it's going to remind you of certain things. Like there's been situations where I work on a case for like 2 weeks, and then I'll find something, and then all of a sudden they be like, yeah, their sister name was this. They didn't think about that originally. So just give me all the information that you have. We'll start off with a name. If it's a very common name, just give me maybe a friend that they had, because what I'll do is, if you may not know that person, but if you know someone that knows them, I will find that person and get the information that we need. So there's so many different ways to skin the cat. You just gotta give me whatever you have and we'll take it from there. If it's a situation where you have no name, let's say you're looking for your father and you have no idea who it is, I automatically know. The first thing I'm going to ask you is your mother still alive, because we need to question her first. If you don't want to include your mom, we'll just do a DNA test. My 2 favorite ones are Ancestry and 23andMe. So you would do the DNA test. It takes about 3 to 6 weeks to return. When a DNA test comes back, I will review it for you. We'll figure out whether the left side or the right side is your father, and then we'll find the closest relatives and work our way backwards to locating your father. So there's several ways to do it, but the more information you have, then we don't have to do the DNA test. But I do want to add that even during the search, Some people will have a name. I'm always going to ask you the question, are you sure that's your father though? So even if we find that person, if you've never done a DNA test, I just need you to understand that yes, we may find them, but that may not be your biological father. So if you really want to know if it's your biological father, the best thing to do is a test. Same thing applies to siblings, cousins, aunties, whoever you're trying to find. Same thing applies. So I hope that answers your question. Any more questions on Facebook? That was a great question, Miss Vivian.
No, not at this time. I don't see any.
Okay, cool. All righty. So let me recap the questions that we've already covered. The first one is, did you grow up in a single parent household? If so, did you have a relationship with the missing parent? So if there's anyone that's watching, if that's your scenario and you want to share, or if you're open to looking for that individual, or maybe you have been trying to find them to no avail, then feel free to raise your hand and we'll go ahead and get you on the mic because your story may bless someone else. Now let's see who we have here on the mic. I have Vantarsha up. Hey, Miss Vantarsha, how are you?
Hello, how are you doing?
I am good. You have a question for me or you want to share? Are you there?
I'm sorry, were you talking to me? I couldn't hear you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, what? Yes, what did you say?
I said, do you have a question for me or would you like to share?
No, I don't have a question at this time.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome to the room. Let's see here. We have Miss Shireen.
How's it going today? How's everyone?
I am good. You doing all right?
I'm doing wonderful, man. It's a beautiful Friday in sunny Florida. My pool is broke, but outside of that, that's my only complaint.
Can we borrow some of that heat? Well, welcome to the room. What we're talking about today is tips on how to find your lost loved ones. So do you have a story you would like to share or a question for me?
I mean, it's 2020 now, thankfully. My only story is pretty short and simple. I haven't known my father for years. When I was 12, I heard, we used to travel back to Jamaica a lot. I was raised in New York, but I used to hear that he was looking for me. And due to parental reasons, my mom kept me away from him. But he reached out to me a couple years back through social media. So, the internet and just technology, it's going to do wonderful things to help people find who they're looking for.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, because you guys, once I'm able to narrow down who the person is, a lot of them can be found on social media. What I notice is that a lot of my clients, especially if they're looking for a female, they're looking for the maiden name. Women's name can change continuously as they get married. So you want to do your research first to see the different names that is changed to, and then search for that on social media. Or like I stated earlier, search for a friend that they may know, and then you can contact that person to connect the dots. So many different ways to do it. But yeah, social media has been a game changer in my business. Even if they have nicknames, there's so many different platforms I use that will tie it in to their social media. Maybe they posted an email address online. It's going to look for that email address on social media. So it's a lot of tips and tricks out there that people aren't aware of that will help you locate your loved one. Because you'd be surprised how many people may be looking for you. Like I have some clients, well, he ain't looking for me. Yes, they could be looking for you. But just like you can't find them, they can't find you. So what you have to do is bring down that brick wall, have to be open to whether or not that person's going to accept you or not. And then just go with the punches. Just go all in, try to locate them. Let the past be the past. And if you're open to it, go ahead and start building a relationship with that person, would be my advice. But thank you so much for sharing, Ms. Serene. You're absolutely right. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yeah, it's Shireen. To touch on that point of they might not be looking for you, you're 100.
Repeat that, Ms. Shireen. I lost you for a second.
You you should never think that they're not looking for you, that this world is too big. Even in the same city, same state, they might be looking for you and can't find you. Like I said, when I was a child, I was 12. Every time we went to Jamaica, my mom's best friend would be like, your father's looking for you. And my mom would be like, she don't want him. She don't need to see him. She don't this. It's been 20 years knowing that my father has been looking for me.
Wow.
Knowing that, teenage and adult stuff, and I put it out my mind and forgot about it. But when he reached out to me, I remember that somebody used to come around and say, your father is looking for you.
Wow, that's deep. And that's a different perspective that you don't hear often. But Miss Shireen, I already screenshotted this, so I'm going to reach out to you next time we do a room.
Feel free. As long as I'm not working, I'm open book, man.
Well, thank you. I'm sure that helps someone that's listening. Okay, I see we have Miss Viola. Did you want to ask a question or share something?
Hello, Tawana. Yes, ma'am.
Hey.
Thank you for inviting me up to the stage. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, so my question would be, if you have Indians, in your family, and you want to try to find your Indian heritage because you want to try to get your Indian card, is there any way that you help with that as well?
No, that's the short answer. But I know on the reports, the Ancestry report, it will show you your breakdown, your genetic breakdown. But as far as that Indian card you're referring to, no, that's not my area of expertise. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is it Sierra?
It is. Thank you so much for inviting me up. I do have a question. What type of services do you offer for people who may be too busy to put in the man hours to research that info on our own?
Well, I actually do this as a business. My website is connectllc.com. So it's KINNECTLLC.com. It's actually in my bio as well. And my profile picture is around that too. But I have 3 different packages that I offer. So if DNA is required, of course, that's going to be the larger package. But it depends on what you need. So if you're somebody extremely busy, because I'm literally picking up the phone, calling everybody to connect the dots. So if you're a person that doesn't want to make those calls yourself and you want me to connect the dots, or you're a person that just doesn't feel comfortable making those calls, then I will recommend the larger one. In the smaller package, what I do is just give you possible relatives' phone numbers, emails, social media things, and you can research it on your own. But for someone like you, I would suggest going to the website, check out the 3 packages that I do offer, and then go from there. And what we'll do is a free consultation first. Myself and Michelle will do it with you to see how much information you have. Because we want to make sure it's a case we can solve. Have 100% success rate. So we just want to make sure that we can take you from the beginning to the end. So let's do the free consultation first before you choose a package, and then we'll let you know whether or not we can help you.
I love that. And I love the privacy too, because most places that want to help you, they want you to be on the show or tell all your business, like that I've heard of. It's like so much extra stuff. It's not just that simple. So I love it, and thanks a lot.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for volunteering to speak. Let's see here. So let's recap really quick, you guys. My phone is dinging like crazy, so I hope it's not muting out my line. But this room is all about how to find your lost loved ones. We are live on Facebook, we're on Zoom, and we are on Clubhouse, which I absolutely love. Now, this is a lot to juggle, so bear with us as we are answering the questions on Facebook, as well as in this group. Now, we have 2 more questions that we're going to go through. What we're asking you guys to do is raise your hand if you have any questions, or you just want to share your own experience with locating a loved one, or maybe you've been looking for someone to no avail. But we just want you guys to be open if you choose to, because your story may help someone else while they're going on their search. Just to recap the questions that we've covered, the first one was, did you grow up in a single parent household? And if so, did you have a relationship with that missing parent? Number 2 was, have you ever wondered if you had siblings that you know nothing about? What if you discovered them? Number 3, which we just finished, do you know anyone? No, we didn't do number 3 yet. Number 3, do you know anyone that was adopted? If so, was there an urge to learn about their biological parents? Okay, so if you know anyone that was adopted, or maybe you were adopted, a gentleman shared earlier today, he grew up, he was adopted, and he later found his biological parents and found his 4 siblings. So it's an amazing journey. He knew he was adopted from day one, but some people don't find out until years later down the line. So if you know individuals that were adopted, if they're open to sharing their story, let me know. If you know of someone, just raise your hand here and go ahead and share as well. But I'm excited about this, you guys. This is a great opportunity to bring closure. But I also want to teach people how to do it themselves. Right? Because if I teach you, then you can teach someone else. So if you're interested in finding someone and you haven't been successful at it, just share with us what you've been doing so I can share some tips with you on this platform. The 4th question is, what resources have you used? Ms. Shireen mentioned social media. There are so many different platforms online that will help you find your loved ones. But whatever you use, was it helpful? Or did you reach a dead end? So whatever you use to try to find that lost loved one, I have some clients that all they use is Facebook. I can't find them on Facebook. Y'all, everybody not on Facebook. And if they are on Facebook, sometimes they have a different name on Facebook, right? So you need to search Facebook via email. If you can find their email address online, maybe their resume online, that's a great tip. Put their name and put resume behind it. So if they ever had a resume on a public site online, guess what they're going to have at the top? Phone number and address. Another great tip that I want to throw to you guys really quick, just for the individual that may not feel comfortable raising their hand right now, is obituaries. That's a huge one that I use. So if you're trying to locate a particular person, find someone in their family that was recently deceased. Look up their obituary. All the names are going to be listed. You just need to find someone that you can trace to be able to find the person that you're looking for, and just start making those calls, just putting a bug in their ears, start sending those emails out. And before you know it, you guys, most cases I can resolve in a day. One day. Now I have
question.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
For those who may not know their parents or even their child's name, what advice do you have in that scenario?
I would say DNA. So if it's a person that knows nothing, then when you do the DNA either on Ancestry, which I prefer, but Ancestry and 23andMe, when you do the DNA test, it's going to give you a left side and a right side, which means that you have your mother's side and your father's side. So whether your parents show up on the DNA test or not, you're going to have relatives that show up. So when that report comes back, we just go backwards. So let's say you have a 3rd cousin that shows up. So we're going to find out who your 3rd cousin's parents are, then who are their parents, and then we're going to trace ourselves back. Normally, it will get to the point where we will get in touch with the siblings of your parent, and then we'll just narrow it down from there. And then as you meet different family members, some will be open. Trust me, when you reach out to family members, I'm your 3rd cousin. Can you introduce me to your parents? Hey, I'm your 2nd cousin. Can you introduce me to your parents? Someone's going to be open to doing a DNA test again. So it's just a matter of getting different people to do the test if they choose to. But normally with just your test alone, we can get answers. And that's what having no name whatsoever. Did that answer your question, Ms. Shireen?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see here. All righty. Do we have any questions on Facebook?
No questions on Facebook. But since you brought up the obituaries, I wanted to know if you wanted to share our story about the obituary and how we found our cousin.
Oh, yes. Is Miss Letitia on here? Miss Letitia, if you're on here, go ahead and hit your microphone, hon. Because the obituary is a powerful tool. That's normally one of the first places I go when I'm trying to find someone. Letitia's in the audience. She's not raising her hand, so we're going to share it. Come on, Letitia. But one of our business partners, we're a part of another business. Did you hit invite as speaker? Okay. Hey, Letitia. So we're a part of another business, and we were just business partners in this business. So one day, Letitia, I think she posted obituary in a family group.
No, she posted it on Facebook, and then I recognized that obituary in our
Family group.
Facebook group.
So we later found out that we were family members, and we had no idea. So Letitia actually joined Michelle in business. Michelle's a part of my business. And so we were all working together, and just to find out that we were all cousins. So that was powerful. So you never know. But obituaries is a great tool, you guys. So if you are looking for someone and you're trying to find them on your own, and maybe you just can't find that one person, always ask yourself, who knows that person? Find an obituary, and it's going to give you the names of all the siblings, the grandchildren, the aunties, all of them will be listed there. And then do your research on those individuals and start asking questions. That's the best way to do it. Okay, let's see here. Viola, looks like you were trying to come off mute. Did you have a question?
No, when I flash the mic like that, that means I'm clapping.
Okay. Yes. You guys, I absolutely love this. This is my passion. I've done this free for over 10 years. Literally, during my free time, I'm posting, who can I help you find today? But last year, one of my clients asked me, I'm not sure if she's watching or not, but her name is Miss Ashley. She asked me, why aren't you doing this as a business? And that's where it stemmed from. So I give her credit for it, because that's when the light bulb went off. I don't know why I never did it in a business. You know, you just have that thing that you'll do for free. Like I grew up, just a little bit about me. I grew up in a 2-parent household, but I only knew one side of the family. So I knew all of my daddy's side, but my mom's side, her daddy died when she was 9. Her mother died when she was 14. So their aunties, their other family members raised them. So she didn't know much about her family. Therefore, I didn't know anything. So I have an aunt, and I have 2 aunts actually that I know from my mother's side. So I spent years trying to find family on her side. And so even though I grew up in a 2-parent household, I didn't know the other half, and I just felt missing. It just felt like a part of me was missing. We didn't have family reunions over there. I didn't have anybody to talk to over there. So I was on a mission to try to find more family members to connect with, and just to help my mother connect with them as well. So we recently found more loved ones, another half brother that I can't wait to meet in person, and so much more. So it's a beautiful thing, right? So a lot of times all we have to do is just bring down that brick wall just a little bit and be open to finding those loved ones. But again, I'm here to show you guys and give you tips on how to do it yourself. So the first step is just asking the question. You know, you can always message me directly if you feel more comfortable doing that, because I understand that this is a sensitive topic, and we'll work through it and we'll figure it out. And if you just need tips, then I'm there for the tips. But if you need someone to do it for you, I promise you, I guarantee you that myself and my team will do what's required to find your loved one. We won't even accept your case if we know we can't find them during that free consultation. All righty. So do we have anyone in Facebook world saying anything? For those of you that are on now, if you have a question or anything, or if you have a story you want to share, go ahead and raise your hand for me. We have about 8 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next question here. So the last one is, what would it mean to you to find your lost loved one? That's what I want you guys thinking about. What would it mean to you to find them? Now, a lot of my clients, this is what they'll do. They may be afraid or they may have some resentment towards the person that they're looking for. But what I want you to do is write down 5 reasons why you should find that person. Could you have other siblings? Could you have aunties or uncles? Maybe you have children that deserve to know who their grandparent is. Do you know the story as to why that person don't know you? Because one thing I can tell you, I've ran into several situations where the mom, not to say this is your situation, but the mom will badmouth the dad. A lot of times when fathers didn't even know you existed, or they had someone else thinking that they were the father. So they went on about their life. So find out the truth for yourself, hear both sides of the story if you're open to doing it, because you never know. There's 3 sides to every story. So just make sure that you, before you decide not to find that person, that you really write down the benefits of actually looking for them. We have a new person on the panel here. We have 2. We have Nika and Mia Simone. So Miss Nika, do you have a question or would you like to share?
Hi, yes, I have a question. Thank you so much for having me. So I kind of tapped into the room, but I did catch your website and I went to it, and it was just really easy to navigate. And I was just looking through it, so I really didn't catch how much you said it costs for you to help us, to do stuff like this. Because and right when I was getting off your website, I heard you talking about how, and what does it mean to connect with people? And I relate to that because, at one point I didn't know that I had a whole nother side of my family that I never, knew, didn't get a chance to know them. But once I did connect with them, I just felt so relieved, because it helps you to learn more about how you are, like the things you go through. So I was just looking through the website and I like that because it seems like it was easy for me to do it on my own. But if I would have had somebody that, done this before, it could have been a lot easier and I didn't have to wait like 30 years.
Okay, well, oh wow. So 2 things I want to share with you.
I was just wondering, how much did you say it was to help do that?
So there's 3 different packages. It ranges from $400 up to $1,350 are the packages. So with that last packet, it includes 2 DNA tests. It's because I prefer Ancestry and 23andMe, because the older generation normally uses Ancestry. The younger generation normally uses 23andMe. So if you only do one, you could be missing family members that took a test on one or the other. So it includes 2 DNA tests, plus me doing 100% of the work. Now, what I do require from my clients is that you respond. My goal is, my success rate is normally between 2 hours to 24 hours before I find a person, unless you just got a very hard case. So if you secure my services, it's just responding, because I'm going to have questions throughout the process that I'm going to need you to answer to help me narrow down the search. So that's my main thing, is just you responding. Now, what I would like, I think I heard you say that you found your loved one, and it would have been a lot quicker if you had someone doing it for you. But would you mind sharing what you did? Because what I also want the people to learn is how to do it themselves, because everybody may not be able to afford me. So would you mind sharing some tips on how you found your loved ones, if that's what I heard you say?
Yeah, well, it was actually pretty easy what I did. Well, it wasn't easy, but when I finally connected on Facebook, I'm not gonna say I'm from the older generation, but I didn't have all of these technologies around when I was younger. But when I got on there, I just started seeing people. It was easy, like with my last name or what I knew my grandma's last name was, and great grandma. So I just kind of clicked through their pages just to see, if people look like me, if I went to the same school, if we visited the same places. That's basically where I started. And then I'm like, oh, well, we have 2 mutual cousins or something. And then I'll go ask my cousin, hey, who's this person or something? They'd be like, oh yeah, that's such and such. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I went to school with them and I didn't even know it. So it was really, that's how I started finding, people that I didn't even know were in my family.
Gotcha. Have you ever done a DNA test?
No, I haven't done one of those before.
I would recommend doing that. sometimes they have a sale, but it's like less than $100 to do the test. My whole family has been DNA'd. So we're in the system. So if anyone pops up in there, we'll get an alert. So I highly recommend just putting it in the system. Go ahead and get it done, because if you have other relatives, that's a lot quicker to find them that way. So if you decide to do so, go ahead and knock that test out. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to come back. All righty. Well, thank you for sharing, Miss Nika.
Thank you for the tips. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Miss Mia Simone, I love your name. Sound like a singer.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I actually had a question. I have siblings that were adopted out. I don't know their adopted last name, and I've tried to contact to see if there was a way to get any information. And I've been kind of told that in a situation like that, it's kind of hard. And when my dad passed, I actually made sure I put their names and their mom names in the obituary. But is there anything that I can do, to try to find them?
Yes, you can. So depending on the state, it's either a closed or open case. So you would need to find out first if the adoption was open or closed in this state. If you're a sibling, you have a legal right to have access to it.
Okay.
Now, normally, if someone knows they're adopted and they're on a hunt as well, if they're looking for you, then they've probably done a DNA test and they're just waiting for you to do it so y'all can connect. So
yes, I don't know if they know about me, like I'm the oldest sibling, and I don't know. They're all together, but I don't know if they know about me.
okay, so you remained in the household, but the children that came after you were adopted out?
We had different moms. We had the same dad, but we had different moms.
Gotcha.
So that's why, I know who their mother is. I haven't seen her in years. I couldn't find her, but I only know her name. So that's why I said when my dad passed, I put their names as well as their mom's name in the obituary just in case they ever look.
Okay, so a clarifying question really quick. You said on obituary you put their names. So you know the names of the children?
I know what their names were when they were born, but I don't know what because they were adopted out, all together, but I don't know what that name would be.
Okay, how many mothers are involved with those kids?
One, just one.
Okay, you know her name?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, message me so we can find her.
Okay.
I can help you find her, and then she may have some answers. She may know who the parents are that adopted them, but she can easily go to the adoption agency and try to open that file.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I will message you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey, Miss Monique.
Hey, I'm here.
Hey. Thank you for tuning in. Did you have a question or anything you wanted to share?
Actually, I just wanted to see if there was anything else I needed to do in order to find my god brother.
Well, I can tell you this. The one, I don't want to share too much. I guess is it okay if I go in detail?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So, so far, I found his son, which I'm assuming is his son. I'm waiting for his son to respond back. He actually accepted my friend request on Facebook. He read my message on Facebook. So I like to give people time because I don't know whether his father is still alive. So I want to be sensitive to that. But they have the same exact name. His father's birthday is the same as the birthday that you shared with me. I found his birth certificate that has his mother. His mother's name was actually Cicely. And
so the son's name is Cicely.
Yeah, the son's mother is Cicely. Okay. And his dad was on the birth certificate as well. Same exact name. So you have a senior and junior situation. Went through his Facebook stuff. No, his dad's not on Facebook that I can tell unless he's under another name. But tomorrow I'm calling him on Messenger. So I just want to give him a little time because he read the message and he accepted my friend request. So I just want to let him process the information first. I don't want to be too pushy. And tomorrow I'll actually call him on Messenger to confirm the birth date. But the birthday that I saw is the same exact one that you gave me, and he's the only one that's in Texas.
Also, did it give the place of birth? Because he was born in the Bronx, but he moved to Texas when he got married.
No, but can I ask you this? Was it the Gainesville, Texas?
I don't know what part of Texas. I only heard that part years later, that he had moved to Texas and married and was in the military.
Okay, so no, I didn't see a birth record for him, but I know he's the only one that has that name and that birth date that was residing in Texas. So the likely, and then with the reason why I asked you the race is because I noticed the son looked like he was mixed with something else. So when you say Black and West Indian, I mean, his son looks the exact blend. So I was like, this gotta be him, but we'll see. I know you say he's darker complected. That picture was really bad. So I don't know if maybe there was light on the photo or what. So I'd rather just talk to him.
Right.
To find out, but if not, we'll keep on going. I did find another one, but are you for certain with that birthday? Like, you know for a fact that's it?
Yeah. Definitely.
Definitely? Okay, cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Now, I would like to ask you if you know, say it again, I'm sorry?
I'm going to call my mother, just in case I'm wrong. I'm going to call my mother, but as far as I know, we're a month apart in terms of the months. The year, I just want to double check the year. For some reason, I believe it's the same.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. Would you happen to know Lorraine's married name?
That I don't know. When my godmother got married the second time, I do not. It could be some weird name like Snuffleupagus or something like that, but I would have to ask my mother.
Okay, if you can ask her. And Chantel, I need to confirm her last name, but if you can confirm the married name for Lorraine and Chantel's actual last name, because I don't want to assume it's Williams, but if you can confirm that, then that'll narrow it down even more, because I can reach out to one of them.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I can do that.
Okay, well, thank you, honey.
Thank you. That's the closest I've been in how many years?
Oh, honey, look, I have 100% success rate. I don't want to ruin that. So I'm not sleeping until we find him.
That's my childhood best friend and godbrother. If I could find him, boy, that's a happy day.
And let me say, when you look at that picture of his son, do you see any resemblance?
I see, the picture looks more like the sister than my godbrother. But because I've never met the wife and I was already not a part of his life then, it's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult because his mother, my godmother, she looks East Indian.
Okay.
She looks East Indian.
Do you know his father?
I never knew his father. No. I've never seen his father. I never knew his father. No.
Gotcha. And is Chantel younger or older?
Younger.
Okay. How much younger would you say?
Probably about 3-4 years.
Okay. I saw one that was 46, but it was a Williams. I just wanted to wait till you confirm.
Right. And her last name is not Williams.
Okay, cool. All righty. Well, I need her last name and the mother's married name, and then that'll help.
Okay, definitely. I can do that.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you, honey. Let's see. You're welcome. We have Miss Vita in the house. Hey, Miss Vita, did you want to speak?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
This service is so phenomenal. I'm so happy that you're doing it. Have a quick question. When you want to find out something, so let's say I want to surprise someone or like a gift, but they may or may not be on board with it. Do I have to have the consent to use the DNA, to do the DNA?
To do the DNA with who? You gonna get it while they sleep? What you?
Yeah, I mean, like I want to find out. I had a story. So siblings, to find out if they have the same mother and father, but if one of them does not want to cooperate, or didn't want to know, or just says they're fine with how things are, what they think they have, who they think their parents are, but the other sibling and I want to surprise them and say, hey, look what we found out. Do we have to have their consent for the DNA?
No, because the thing is, they're going to have to literally spit in the vial to get their DNA. So there's no way to really.
Way to do it. Okay.
But you can get that one sibling, that one sister to do the DNA test and the results will come back. Now, when the results come back, if it points to another man other than who they believe it is, then that's going to tell it all there. And then
find out really without even having the DNA of both sisters.
Yes. So what I would say, do the first, because see, the thing is, when that first person does the DNA, if it's not the father that she thought it's been all this time, then that's a conversation she can have with her sis. Say, look, sis, oh my goodness, I found out my dad is not my dad. And then that's going to make her want to do the test too.
Okay, that's a different angle. That's good. Okay.
So
I was thinking it had to be a swab, but you said spit in a cup, so clearly we can't get that on the slide. We need them to physically do that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. That was too cute. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, I had a quick question. Just a short backstory. Was looking at my birth records, and I'm a former twin. But here's the problem: nobody ever knows what happened to the twin. There was never any death certificate issued or anything. So, and as soon as I was born, I was told the doctor left town. You cannot find. We've looked. We cannot find him. I mean, I checked with doctors since I was, I went back with other doctors, and we said, we don't know what happened to the doctor. He just left.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Were you raised with your biological mother?
Yes.
So what does she say about it?
She doesn't know anything, because as soon as I was born, she passed out. And I was put in the incubator, and I stayed in the hospital for months. I was like 2 pounds, 8 ounces. So with medical complications and many surgeries, and somebody tried to brush it off and said, well, maybe it was an error.
Okay, so
always been a gray area. We don't know anything, and she's always wanted to know.
Okay, so did they only have to issue a birth certificate if the baby exited her? So is it possible that the baby might have died already before? Like, what does it say?
I mean, it could be possible, but nobody ever said anything. Nobody else that was in the delivery room ever said anything. So we always wonder.
So is your mother open to a conversation?
She is.
Okay, so let's do that. Just reach out to me and let's get on a Zoom, because I know what to ask her. So I'll just keep on asking her questions that may jog something. But they only have to, and plus I need to know what state so I can look up their laws. But I know, like in Washington, D.C., they only have to issue a death certificate if the baby took one breath during birth. But if the baby passed away, then they don't have to actually issue one. Okay. So it depends on, the laws in that state. But it's just weird that they will put that on your birth certificate. But let's schedule something where we can talk it through, and maybe that'll jog a memory or something, and we could figure it out. But if all fails, if that baby did survive and is out there, it wouldn't hurt to do a DNA test as well to see if they're in the system.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's an interesting scenario. I'm curious to know more about that one. Let's see here. Miss Keisha. Beautiful smile.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I was
Thank you. I was scrolling down Clubhouse and I said, let me get to this topic. So I don't want to go over everything that God has blessed me with. You guys can check out my bio and all of that good stuff. But my passion is to find my birth father. I am adopted, but I was adopted by my maternal aunt and uncle. So that's why I called my mom and my dad. But the scenario with my issue is my mom was 15 and my dad was almost 30. So every time they saw each other, it's a long story behind it. But anyway, he kept giving her different names. So she forgot his name. So to make a long story short, she bought me a DNA kit back in 2017. I refused to take it because I didn't want to be rejected. But my son ended up having his first child. So I said, okay, it's no longer about me. My sons never questioned me who my biological father was because my uncle that raised me was pretty much his granddad, so it really didn't matter. But here we are with my grandson who is biracial, that one day he may grow up and want to find his roots. So I ended up taking the test when he was born back in 2018. And I met up with whoever my father is. A few people had already taken the DNA test on Ancestry. So I flew out to Jersey and I met a few aunts and first cousins and all of that and this and that. But the thing is with me is my grandfather, my father's father, he was a Rolling Stone. So therefore he had outside children that are still meeting each other. So my father is one of those outside children. So I took 23andMe and my heritage, and I was on a site called GED Match, so they can collaborate all the different sites you're on, and I guess put your matches together. But anyway, so lo and behold, someone inboxed me on Ancestry that's related to me, like 56 cousins or something. She was trying to figure out her husband's DNA, but we found more people on my father's side, but on my father's mother's side, it took us back to a few generations back. But it's been so hard to narrow down who my grandmother is because a lot of people on her side have not taken their DNA. So I've developed a passion to help people find their loved ones. So I'm in the process right now, getting everything approved, called I Belong to You. And it's going to be a 501c3 to help people that can't afford to pay for their DNA. The foundation will be able to do that. So that's where I'm at with my story.
I love it. Are you open to sharing your username and password for Ancestry?
Sure.
Okay, well, message me. If I see anything that may stand out that maybe you didn't notice, I can try to help you there. But yeah, so if I recap this correctly, your grandfather had an outside child, which is your father, right?
That is correct.
But do you know for a fact that none of his existing sons that he know of is your father? Have you already eliminated that possibility?
Yes, I have, and I'm glad you asked that because there are 4 sons, but 2 are close to my age. That's how Rolling Stone he was. If he was living, he'd be like 88, and I'm 43. But one of his sons that was his junior, we thought it would be him, but then we tested both of his daughters that have the same mom as him. But he's deceased, and he would only be like 13 or 14 years older than me. But that didn't matter because, guys can have children really young. But their results came back as being a half aunt to me. So that narrowed it down. And then my last uncle, we tested, I wanted to test him. He's still living, but he refused to test because of government and all this other stuff he said. But we tested one of his sons, and his son came back as a half first cousin. So therefore, he's my uncle.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. And then a lot of those matches did not match them that matched me. So we were assuming that that's my grandmother's side on my father's side. Yeah.
Gotcha. So let me ask you the question. With your nonprofit, you said you'll be doing it to help people that can't afford the DNA test. So are you're offering the DNA services and then you're going to review it to narrow it down, or just the DNA piece? What will you be doing?
No, what I want to do is, because I am having a difficult time finding my father, I don't want people to I don't want to leave them out there in the wilderness and just assume that they'll never be able to afford that they can't find their loved ones. So I'm only going to be able to afford it for them. And then I have developed a directory where I can refer them out to people that can help them narrow down the numbers. Because I've connected with all type of genealogists that do it voluntarily, different ones that are experts at it. So yeah.
Okay, well, let's connect, honey, because we definitely got the same passion.
Yes, I just followed you, so I will definitely EM you.
Okay, I will follow you back. Thank you so much for sharing, but don't forget to send me your username and password. I'll see if anything stands out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, you guys, do we have any questions on Facebook?
No questions on Facebook, but just hearing all of these stories, just the importance of you understanding your medical history is what's good enough. Like, I understand some people, they don't want to open up those wounds, or, they have no care to really know, but just to know the medical history is very, very important. Yes, ma'am. Well, you guys, look, we've been rolling. We've about 18 minutes over. Well, this is our first time hosting a room with this topic. We're going to keep this going. The goal is every single Friday to have a different topic that we'll cover. Also sharing, have any clients that I've worked with share their stories if they're open to it. But this has been fun. I really enjoyed this. I've met a lot of people that, have some amazing stories. And this is actually a passion of theirs, because I've been feeling like I've been in a lane all by myself for years until Clubhouse came around. I was like, am I the only one doing this? Like, but I can see it's a passion for many. I've been doing this a very long time. So you guys, make sure that you follow us. Make sure that you hit that bell so that when we have the next one, you'll be able to come on in the room. But thank you guys for tuning in. Message us directly if you have any questions. Thank you guys on Facebook, my Android users that can't get on Clubhouse. Thank you guys so much for tuning in as well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think next time we may do this on Zoom and then just play the sound through Clubhouse and then answer extra questions there so that we can actually connect a little more and see you guys' faces and you can see us and really build some relationships here. But much love to you all. Thanks for tuning in. And Keisha, I just got your message, so I'll respond to you shortly. But everybody have a blessed day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty. Bye, Facebook. This was fun.